They did everything right. The sky turned black, the rain came down like a waterfall. They ran for cover, seeking shelter from the storm. They found a gas station, covered, safe. A smart move, right? A place to wait it out. On June 3rd, 2015, over 150 people in Accra made that exact choice. They sought safety, and within the hour, they were dead. June 3rd isn't just a date, it's a wound that won't heal. And the most shocking truth, those people weren't foolish. They made a sensible choice in a terrible situation. The city let them down, not the rain, the city itself. And here's the crazy part. More than 10 years later, after all the promises, all the anger, all the lives lost, Accra still floods. Every single year. We keep saying, never again. But the real question isn't if it will happen again. It's why it keeps happening. Why does Accra keep building the stage for disaster, even when we know the terrible price? Most people think it's simple. Bad drains, not enough pipes. But if that were true, wouldn't we have fixed it by now? We've spent money, we've cleaned rivers, yet the floods keep coming. So what if we are looking at it all wrong? What if the problem isn't just what broke, but why it keeps breaking? What if the true story of Accra's flood isn't about water, but about a hidden machine deep inside the city that causes these disasters? Let's look at the facts. June 3rd wasn't just rain, it was a wall of water. 100 millimeters in a few hours. That's a whole month's rain, all at once. Any city will struggle with that. But here's the key secret. Accra's main river, the Odo, was already sick. Years of illegal buildings, mountains of plastics, and debt have blocked its flow. It was a system built for a different time, now suffocating under the weight of a fast-growing city. So when that huge rain hit, the water didn't just overflow. It had nowhere to go. It was a disaster waiting to happen, made worse by a system already at its breaking point. Now let's talk about the people living in these areas. We often blame them. They built in the wrong places. But that's too simple. Imagine a family 10 years ago needing a home. The only cheap land near the Odo. Close to work, yes, but also close to the floodline. They didn't ignore the danger. They learned to live with it. They knew the signs. They moved their things. Because leaving wasn't an option. This isn't about individual mistakes. It is about a system that pushes its most vulnerable people into danger, then blames them when disaster strikes. It's a predictable outcome, not an accident. And understanding this changes everything. After June 3rd, everyone screamed for action. More drains, cleaning rivers, tearing down illegal buildings, better trash management. And some things that happened. Projects started, rivers were cleared, but the basic way of thinking stayed the same. Fix the surface problems, or fix the symptoms. We kept asking, how do we make the system better? But we rarely asked, why does the system keep needing to be fixed in the same places for the same reasons after the same kinds of floods? That's a much harder question, and it points to something very uncomfortable. Most explanations for Accra's floods stop at the drains. They tell us what broke, they suggest what to fix, and that's helpful, but it's not a full story. Because drains don't break by themselves, they break in a city, and a city isn't just pipes and roads. It's choices. Choices about land, about who lives where, about what gets money, what rules are followed, and most importantly, who pays the price when those choices go wrong. That's the conversation we need to have, the hidden gears driving this endless cycle. Think of Accra's floods not as one problem, but as the result of three powerful engines pushing each other year after year. First, fast city growth. Accra's population has exploded, much faster than the city can plan for. Green spaces, soil, wetlands are covered by concrete. Water that used to soak into the ground now rushes off, hitting drains faster. In bigger amounts, the city is literally paving its own way to floods. Second, the land price trap. As good homes become too expensive, poorer families are pushed to the edges. And in Accra, those edges are often flood zones. This isn't by chance, it's what happens when the housing market fails to offer fair choices. Third, old pipes, new city. Accra's drains were built for a much smaller city. Fixing them needs huge money, constant care, and strong rules for many years. And here's the sad truth. When they work, you don't even notice. Nobody celebrates the flood that didn't happen. These three engines don't sit there. They push each other, creating a never-ending cycle. More growth, more runoff. More flood risk, cheaper land in those areas. Cheaper land, more vulnerable people moving in. And it goes on and on, a system creating a clear, sad outcome, even when no one wants it. Here's the big idea I keep coming back to. The problem isn't that flood risk in Accra is unknown. It's that the system keeps causing floods, even when people know, even when money is spent, even when leaders want to help. Just fixing a drain won't move 50,000 families. Stopping illegal buildings without offering people a place to live doesn't stop the problem. It just moves it somewhere else, out of sight. We are treating the cough, not a sickness, with solutions that are too small, too separate, and too short-term. This isn't because people aren't trying, it's because our solutions don't match the size of the problem. And until we face that, the floods will keep coming. When you see it this way, some things become painfully clear. You stop looking for someone to blame and you start asking, what does this system really care about? And who gets hurt when those priorities lead to disaster? A drain project without a plan for homes is only half a solution. Tearing down illegal buildings without asking where those people go isn't a flat fix. It just moves the danger to someone else. We are just shifting the problem. This is why the problem stays the same, no matter who is in charge, no matter the budget. The forces causing floods need a big long-term plan that fixes land rules, housing, drains, and trash management, all at the same time for decades. That's incredibly hard, and it doesn't fit into a quick speech. Every year on June 3rd, Ghana stops. We remember, we lay flowers, we make promises, and the rain keeps coming. June 3rd wasn't a drain problem. It was a mirror, showing a city that had spent years building the conditions for that terrible night, without truly understanding what it was creating. The question now is the city being built today? The land being sold, the areas being cleared, the drains being laid, really learning from that past? Because if we already know which areas are in danger, and we understand what makes them weak, then the next disaster isn't a sure thing, but it is, right now, already being built. What would it really mean to take that seriously, not just in words, but in every decision made right now about where the city grows next. If you want more real stories about how big systems shape everyday life, hit subscribe. And in the comments, I'm truly curious. What do you think is the most misunderstood part of how Accra floods? Not what everyone talks about. What's the real hidden truth? Share your thoughts below.